Hey, I'm Mwende Ngao, and this is the Internet's your weekly dose of online shenanigans and newsworthy stories. Before we kick off the show, I have to make a confession. This has been a really difficult week for me in the sense that I was having some internet issues. So I was on and off the internet for say 2-3 days, and there was actually a time I was offline for 24 hours back to back. It was hard. I was suffering from FOMO, the fear of missing out, and when I did finally get back online, there was so much information I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what the context was of most conversations, and it was really confusing. And so I completely understand the guys who say that when you come online you can't really keep up with all this information. How do you guys keep up? It's easier to keep up with the Kardashians than it is to keep up with what is happening online, but yeah, we do our best. That's all we can do, really. So yeah, on to the first story of the week: corruption. Yeah, corruption in Kenya. Corruption is one of those words that I can say is overused in the Kenyan context. It's like in every conversation, it's like corruption. Almost loses its meaning. It's like, could be anything. Could be an heirloom. It could be someone dying. They're like, here, take corruption. Use it. I saved it for you. Or, hey, did you watch Corruption last night? Oh my God, it was so funny. That's how it sort of is. It's always in our conversation. And that's kind of sad. Corruption in Kenya is one of those things that, it just doesn't seem to be going away. We're always fighting, we're always talking about it. And now this week, the Auditor General put out a report that said that 1% of Kenya government spending is the only thing that can be accounted for. So 99% can't be adequately accounted for. Doesn't mean that it's not being used, because obviously we can't survive on 1%, but it just means that it can't be properly accounted for, like all the protocols, and say, hey, this is what we use for, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of like there are all these other issues under there that can't adequately account for 99% of Kenya government spending, and that is just unbelievable. So this is what some of you had to say on that. The Bahati said, Kenya isn't a democracy, we are a kleptocracy. Corruption in Kenya is a raison d'etre for government and politicians. It's our state motto. Atsoko analyst said, corruption in Kenya is squarely responsible for the high state of crime, fraud, murders, and joblessness. At Nyachani said, neither CORD nor Jubilee can finish corruption in Kenya. A third force is necessary. That force is an active and thinking citizenry. Yeah, that is all true, that we all need to sort of come together and figure this thing out, because it's obviously our issue. It's not an outside issue. We are the ones that are corrupt. We are the ones that elect corrupt leaders. And to be honest, I'm starting to look at it and think maybe we should be thinking about it a little differently. I think that maybe we should consider corruption as a sickness, because it's one thing for you to steal because you're hungry. It's one thing for you to steal because you're getting kicked out of your house and you need to pay rent, or a loved one is sick and you need money for an urgent operation, like say John Q, when he was in the hospital and he had everyone like he was like a terrorist or something, and he was like, yeah, everyone in the hospital until my daughter gets, a heart or something. Yeah, that is understandable. But when you are breaking the law, or you are doing stuff that honestly you don't need to be doing, because A, you're getting paid, you have a job, or you're already wealthy enough, but you steal, and you're stealing not from the rich like Robin Hood to give to the poor, but you are stealing from the poor to make yourself richer, stealing from money that should go to, say, medicine, or stealing money that should go to buy relief food. How is that not a sickness? I honestly think that these people are sick, and yeah, they should be arrested and taken to jail, but this jail should have some sort of program to help rehabilitate them, because I feel like that is honestly a sickness. Another story that's been trending this week is Pastor Nganga. Pastor Nganga was allegedly involved in a hit and run that ended in the death of a woman, and since then there's been number plates have been changed, a journalist has been kidnapped and threatened, and they've been impersonators who've come in and said, no, I wasn't driving the car, it wasn't him, he wasn't here, he wasn't there. It honestly reads like a movie script. I couldn't write a better script if I tried. That's like seriously, if you went to the cinema and watched that, I'd be like really entertained. You'd be like, wow, this is like some twists and turns. But unfortunately, it's not a movie. This is real life. A person died, a family lost a loved one, and they are suffering. And there's a lot of confusion and cover up. And even worse is the story that apparently the police are involved in this cover-up. Again, another example of corruption. This is what happens when we keep enabling a system that allows people to sort of get away with things or just do whatever they want, like they're outside the law, just because they have money. Thankfully, Kenyans on Twitter did not take this line down, and they had a hashtag arrest Pastor Nganga, which basically piled pressure on the Inspector General to take action. So hopefully there will be some justice served, because that is honestly unacceptable.
Having trouble getting followers on Twitter? Niko na tibu. Your Instagram pics not getting enough double taps? Niko na tibu. Has your crush blocked you on Twitter? Niko na tibu. Natibu maradhi yote ya social media. Simply like my Facebook page and my team will inbox you with further details. I will cure all your social media ailments like... You can also visit me at River Road, opposite Jamathoga Auto Spares.
And we're back on to Worthy Mentions. The first is Innovation Week. University of Nairobi is hosting an Innovation Week. Kenya is now known as the Silicon Savannah, which is great. I feel like universities should definitely be hubs of innovation, considering that our university are mostly known for input and then outputting half-baked graduates. So that's great. And speaking of innovation, Safaricom partnered with Google to bring a traffic app into the Kenyan market. It already exists in other markets. The app is called Waze. There's been backlash because everyone is like, hey, Safaricom, there's already an app that exists in the Kenyan market made by Kenyans called Route. So why would you go and get another one and come into the market to sort of offer competition instead of just partnering with who is already here? Good question, yeah, Safaricom? And so Safaricom must be like, well, Google approached us and blah, blah, blah. But guys are like, hey, Safaricom, you should have just partnered with Route. So that's an interesting thing that we're going to be following up. Let's end on a positive note. So yeah, Wizkid is doing really well. The other day he had Drake on one of his jams, and now Alicia Keys posted a video of herself dancing to one of Wizkid's songs. Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty awesome, and check out the video, it looks really good, and I hope that that's sort of like the beginning of something great. Now that we need the African continent, we don't need validation from the international community to sort of be like, our music is great, because we know it's great. But it does open doors that would otherwise not open, and that international appeal. And so this is good news, and hopefully it won't be just good news for Wizkid and Nigerian artists, but good news for everyone on the continent moving forward in terms of music and even in entertainment. So yeah, that's it for this week. Please subscribe to this channel. Please follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and give us feedback. We'd love to know what you think, and what you think we can do better and stuff like that. I've been your host, Mwende. This has been The Internet. I'll see you next week, and remember, we care because you care.